Okay, so on this guy we've got the magnet in for the subduer arm, the wrecker arm, and for the warden arm. They're all in very, very flush, very nicely. So now, as I mentioned, there's something extra that's going to be done for the subduer arm specifically. So this is the subduer arm for the first one. And I made a little bit of a mistake on this guy. So up here, in that little hole, it's a hole I've drilled. Here's what the normal undrilled one looks like. This, that is, this thing right here, is supposed to sit on top of that point. It's, if you look at the arm here, there's some chain feeding up it. This chain goes into this reel. In game sense, the net is launched with a chain attached to it. So that chain is the reel that brings it back in. So this needs to sit about here. On the first model, this was a little bit harder to do because I didn't have the necessary tools at the time. So a combination of magnets and pins to hold it all in place. It's supposed to look kind of like that. Which, unfortunately, since I had to put it backwards because I didn't have the proper tools at the time, looks kind of goofy. So I'm not going to be able to do all of that, all of the necessary stuff for that right now, unfortunately. But what I can do is get to right before the last necessary spot. So thankfully, the hole in there is inset a little bit, so we can just take this smaller drill and put a hole in there. It doesn't need to be a deep hole either, just a really, really simple hole. I apologize if this drill is making an exceptionally loud, obnoxious, squeaky noise for you. Okay, that should be more than enough. Let's test its depth. It's not super, super deep, but more than deep enough than for what we need. Next, we'll take this part and we're going to snip off or cut off that extra little lip right there. Alright, so that thing is gone and it's closer to a flat surface now. So, going to use the X-Acto knife and drill a pilot hole. The pilot holes are, for me, much more necessary when I'm using the smaller drill, or the smaller drill bit. It's much more difficult for me to keep it going straight if it's on a slightly beveled surface, as I mentioned before. And same as the last hole, we don't need it to be super deep, we just need it to have a little bit of depth to it. Let's test how deep it is. More than good. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to take part of a paper clip that I have in here. And clippers down here. So we need the length to be about that long to accommodate for both ends. So I'm going to clip that now. got a firm handle on it, and I'm gonna put it in here. The reason for wrapping it in foam is so that when the clipped part comes off, it doesn't go flying in some goofy direction and destroy anything important. So we've got it about as long as we need it. Now, to make sure it fits properly, while using a firmer thing than my fingers to hold it, I'll be inserting it into the first hole, if it'll stay straight. Ah. I don't normally have this kind of problem with them. Guess we'll need to drill it just a little bit more. Oh, looks like I cut myself a little bit. Okay. Let's try that again. Much better this time. Okay, so you'll see that it's got that little bit of a metal bit sticking out. Now we'll kind of match that up here. We'll give it some force and try to get it in there as far as we can. If it doesn't seem like it's going to go any further without getting to the edge, then we'll pull it back out and drill some more. It looks like it's going to be good though. Alright, so we'll pull it back out. And now that we've confirmed the depth and all that such, now we can put some glue in that guy. And we're only going to glue this part to the metal pin. Only this top part. The bottom part needs to be able to freely come in and out. So I'm going to do that off camera for a moment.